Thank you, Superintendent, for your testimony. What a couple of things I wanted to ask about was, I know you mentioned the AROD training. New York City Police Department is doing an offshoot of the DRE program, which is like a 4-hour class. Do you think there's a possibility of the AROD training being administered to local police departments throughout the state to help with the legalization of marijuana if it moves forward? Because I know the DRE program is expensive, and many times it takes the patrol officers away from their duties for some time because of the extent of the training. Could you tell me how much that training is, the DRE program, and if it's feasible for AROD?
Well, the ARIDE program, in order to be qualified for the DRE program, you have to be an ARIDE. And as I said before in testimony, that every new New York State trooper is qualified as an ARIDE as they come through the academy. And by the end of the year, we'll have the entire road trooper force trained as ARIDEs. DREs are akin to, as you know, a test. It's a very extensive training, medically based, and all the rest of it. There is only so much bandwidth that the training academies that will do this. At one point, there were only 2. I think there's plans that they'll add 2 more online, but there's only so many slots. I think New York City has about between 12 and 16.
Yeah, 16.
And I have about 110. My goal is, and it will take time, is to make that number, that fixed number of DRAs, closer to 200. But we have, resources and ways of dealing with the issue up front. And I'm certain that other departments will be and other agencies will be looking at ARIDE training.
Thank you, Superintendent. So I also wanted to touch on the fentanyl analogs. I know that we have some legislation that's in to allow the Department of Health Commissioner to add any necessary analogs. Do you think that would help with investigations?
Well, I don't comment on pending legislation, but fentanyl is extremely serious and extremely dangerous.
And I wanted to touch on one last thing about I know my colleague earlier mentioned ghost guns. When that legislation came up, I raised one issue that unfortunately the possession of a ghost gun right now would be an felony. And, as you know, if you have a firearm with a untraceable serial number, it's a D felony. Do you think that it would help with investigations if it was a D felony for a ghost gun? Because as we know, as an felony with bail reform, it's currently eligible for a desk appearance ticket.
Well, I hate to repeat myself and say I'm not going to comment on pending legislation, but I'm going to do that. I am going to say the ghost gun situation has me concerned.
Thank you, Mr. Superintendent. I appreciate it.